race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you by ShortTrackExclusives.com. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two other short track guys, Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Can'tQuitFishing.com sportsman and 2021 track champion here at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, and Ted Baber, Video Productions here locally at Pensacola at Five Flag Speedway. What's up, guys?
Good evening, sir.
It's been a good one.
Yes, you're right, Ted. It has been a good one, and we've got some news here coming up, leading with the biggest race week in December here in Pensacola, Florida at Five Flag Speedway, the 54th annual Snowball Derby. We've got some news of some drivers that have wins under their belt. They've got momentum building up to get down here, but let's cover that first, and maybe a little bit about some cash rewards for some fast laps here for the Sportsman Series on the 20th of November with the Snowball Derby preview. Jim?
Well, we're going to give it a shot. Trying to get the money together to buy a couple of tires, and we're going to go out and see if we can't break the track record. I'd love to do it. I got the car now, got a fresh motor in. Just getting everything together. Got some new Moser axles. Thank you, Suzanne, for that. And everybody that's helped out with the car, Martin and everybody, Frank, everybody that's out there, Will. Just want to say thank you to you guys, Ben and Phil and Ted and everybody else that's keeping that car alive, because without y'all, I wouldn't be able to do it. And we're going to be ready to rock, and we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks. I'll give you a report when we get done practicing. Hopefully the damn thing will fly, and we'll have a shot at winning the Snowball Derby, and we'll come back here and celebrate with a big trophy.
All right. You guys know any updates on the tire situation?
I know they had to cancel a race down in South Florida because they couldn't get late model tires.
Yep. Citrus County, I think.
Yeah, Citrus County. Yeah, it was their 100 lapper. It's a big race for them, but I don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping that Hoosier steps up, but you got to consider now that the All-American 400 and a couple of other big late model races are over, we're kind of the last one, so they kind of may have time to make enough tires for the Snowball Derby. You know, we may not be able to get them to practice on. We may go for that deal on used tires. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I'll talk to Tim Bryant and have a better deal on that by next week.
Yeah. All right. What do you think of the idea of maybe they said, we don't have enough tires really for the sportsman class. We'll just see if you guys can go DOT and run the DOT tires for this year.
Because here's the problem with DOT.
That's not a possibility?
No. The problem with DOT tires is they're very expensive. They're more expensive than race car tires. They've gotten to where, and they're getting hard to find too. Because, people need them for the street, and DOT tire companies are making what they need to make a profit. I just don't see them going back to that. Next year, the rumor is that we're going to 8-inch tires in Sportsman, which is the same tire that the Outlaw stocks, the trucks, the modifieds run on. I'm okay with that as long as we run one offset wheel all the way around. And that's another thing right now with all this mess going on in America. The price of steel so high. A set of Aero wheels, they're $90 a piece. They were $65 a piece at the beginning of this year. They're $90 a piece right now. It's killing us.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, let's go, Brandon.
Yeah.
I would say something else, but I'm going to be nice. It's our podcast. We're not political here. We're racing, but that has a lot to do with it. But the point is, everything's going up. We priced a new radiator for my car $384 when last year it was $225. Wow. I mean, it's killing us, and something's got to be done. It really has to change, because if we don't soon, it's going to kill short track. It's just because people can't afford it.
You get priced out of the market.
Yeah, I mean, but even when the prices were low, there was some high dollar teams, but still, when I could pay $65 a piece, now I'm going to have to buy at least 8 wheels, bare minimum. I'd like to have 10. But 8 bare minimum, because we have to turn 2 in. That leaves us with 2 spares. And if you bend one, God forbid, you got to have it. So, it's going to put me in a bind next year, but that's what it's about. I mean, I want to race. I'm going to do what it takes to race. We'll find some wheels. We'll get tires, and we'll go after it.
Yeah, if there's a wheel, there's a way, and there's another way to look at it, too. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
No.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the sportsman and the pure stock class they've been really good.
Yeah.
With, the rules as they are. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. And if you have to, then all you're doing is making people spend more money than they really need to just to have fun.
True.
Which is what, you're all about. You've been preaching that since we started, that you do this to have fun.
Yeah. The rumor going around is that Sportsman after next year is going to be basically a super stock class. We're going to be allowed weight jacks, different shocks, wider rims, and, the 8-inch tires.
Right.
maybe a 4-barrel carburetor. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. The pure stocks are going to be what we were. We're going to be allowed to sell our shocks and springs to them, and wheels and tires and stuff like that. They'll be on a 7-inch tire. And the rumor is they're going to start a front-wheel drive class or a 4-cylinder class. I don't know. I hear 4-cylinder. I haven't heard front-wheel drive. I mean, there's a lot of classes that run around with Mustangs and mini stocks, they call them. And that would be a good beginner class. Just
Right.
they need to make them stock, roll cage cars, and have fun. You got to have a fun class. And right now, you'll spend just as much to build a pure stock as you will a sportsman.
Let me ask you this: going in 2021, not really knowing what the season would hold for you, but you ended up doing really well. You won a race, and then you finished inside the top 3, like almost the whole year. Won the track championship. Do you feel any pressure that's built up on you about this snowball derby coming up in December for the sportsman class?
Nah. I don't do it for that. I mean, it's not like I'm expected to win it. I'm the top dog and all that stuff. There's a car that's a lot faster than us, and I won't say whether he's legal or illegal, but illegal. But anyway, he's going to be the guy to beat. I mean, we qualified 3 100s last time right behind him, so we can beat him. We had a bent valve and a tired motor. I mean, now we got a fresh motor and a good driver, and we got a new front straightaway, and we're going to have 4 new tires, and we're going to let it eat. So no pressure. I'm out there to have fun, and I have a derby jinx, and hopefully maybe this is the year I beat my derby jinx.
Well, Ted, what are your plans coming up for this preview and then getting ready for that whole snowball derby week?
Well, I'm going to be just watching the preview and trying to see if I can help some people, preferably do in-car cameras, and then see if I can give them some data back on how the cars are handling so they can maybe improve their chances and get some better information to work with.
Well, that's all coming up here on the 20th with the preview, with the cash awards going out for fast laps, and December 2nd through the 5th,
Yes.
the 54th annual Snowball Derby. We're going to find out what everybody's made of with all the classes, and best of luck to everybody, including you, Jim. But we got some new entries that we haven't mentioned before in the last episode, but Jet Noland and our good friend up in Hubertus, Wisconsin, John DeAngelis, big winner a couple of weeks ago.
The Halloween 100.
Yeah.
150.
Yeah.
150, yeah.
Halloween 150. He'll be back again. He's riding a lot of momentum, and good luck to him. Jace Hansen, Carson Hosevar, Michael House, and Caden Huntingcutt are just the latest that we've got across our sources. So the list continues to grow, and with all these races that we're about to update and recap from this past weekend, the list just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Now, Caden Honeycutt will be one to watch, too, because he's had a great deal of success out there.
Shoot, everybody on that list is somebody to watch. Ain't a slacker. Like I've said it before, there's no slackers that come to the Snowball Derby. If you come down here and you're not prepared, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be back on the trailer and going home.
Yeah.
You better have your stuff right to come down here. That's for dang sure. You better.
And
have been
there are going to be some good cars that come down here that run well that won't make it, and that's what the tough part is, because there's a breaking point. You get the top 30 that get locked in, and then it's the last chance. Do you take the chance? But there's some good cars that are running and handling well that just aren't quite fast enough. And when we talk fast, what kind of times are we talking about as far as the difference goes to make it or not?
I'm thinking within a tenth. I think from the beginning to the back will be in the tenths and the hundredths.
It won't be much.
No, it wasn't last year. I think the difference between making it was about a tenth and a half.
I don't recall the exact numbers, but I know it wasn't more than 3/10, and that's the killer part.
That would be
close.
15/100ths of a second.
Well, you remember last year,
thousands you can get beat out of it.
Last year, Noah Gregson was driving for Phoenix Racing and didn't make the show. Noah Gregson, the guy that's in it for the Xfinity Championship this year, the former winner of the Snowball Derby, showed up and couldn't even make it and couldn't even get it in the last chance race.
Right.
So, I mean, and everybody has a chance in the last chance race. I've seen them where it's down to like 4 cars finishing because everybody's got to be idiots and tear each other's stuff up. So it's, I mean, I'm riding along in 5th place. I need to get to that 4th place to make the Derby. Do not think I will not mess up the front of my car on the last lap to get in, because I got a whole nother day to fix the car to be ready to race. So don't think for 2 seconds I won't knock you out of the way. I mean, that's just short track racing.
That's going to be that's the fun battle to watch right there. Is that LCQ, both of them, Snowflake and Snowball, because everybody's just digging and scrambling to get in.
Well, and you know those big haulers that everybody sees that lines up and blocks everything until Sunday, they move them out.
Right.
That's not just for show. That is a toolbox with wheels.
Absolutely.
So a lot of guys coming down here are going to have parts to fix it, and they've got a crew that will go over and they'll spend all night if they have to get it ready just for the last chance, or get it ready if they're in and have something happen. So they're bringing like parts and pieces to get this stuff finished.
Well, and not only that, but you have like Griffin Shop,
Right.
and you have several other shops here in Pensacola that fix late models, and don't think they're not sitting there going, "You rear one up in practice, bring it to the shop, we'll clip it." You know, there's several of them that do that.
Yeah,
Jeremy Pate's one of them, and I can't think of Mike
Garvey,
but he was another local legend for us guys. But you know, but you got teams that can get their cars fixed if they tear them up. I can remember somebody taking one to Grand American Race Cars in Montgomery or Birmingham. I think they're in Birmingham. Fix the car and bring it back and run in the top 5 of the Snowball Derby. So it's possible. Right. I mean, but like I said, you got to bring your A game to this race. There's no slouching. You can't slick a little bit and you're done.
No. I mean, and it literally can come down to thousandths of a second. You're in or you're out, or you're close to the front, or you're riding tail.
Yep.
Right.
So I would love to see the track record go down, but I don't know if it will or not. That would be definitely cool. I hope our boy Bubba does good. I just, man, he's had such he's like me at the Derby. You know, he'll have a good run and a bad run, and then just never has a shot at a win, or has a shot at a win and gets it taken away from him, or
Right.
You know, Kyle Busch running traction control. I'm just saying, because I've never seen a late model dig that hard late in a run and not spin the tires. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
No, nod.
Say no more, say no more.
Well, that's all coming up here shortly. I mean, it's right around the corner, and the closer we get to it, the more hype it gets, and the more excited we get, and the more names that come in. And I'm sure there's going to be some late entries that we'll be able to cover before that week. And I know this studio right here is getting really excited.
Oh, very.
Hell yeah. That's my favorite time of year. It's like my mini vacation. I take off Wednesday through Sunday. I don't know. I'm at the racetrack. I get up and I've had people I've been with, well, why do you got to be there at 8:00? Because I'll miss cars going around. What do you think? What do you mean? I paid for this whole weekend. I'm not gonna go out there and pay $100 and come out there and just watch the races. I want to watch cars go around. I want to talk to people. Right. I'm around my people. That racing is my people. That's what I love about the Derby.
Yeah. And there's some other names that we need to catch up on too that we haven't mentioned in a few episodes. And I want to venture out a little bit from this panhandle and go down to South Florida at 417 Southern Speedway and give a big shout out to Jennifer Brinson and Sunshine State Racing with her video and her commentary and what she brings to the forefront for everybody to witness what's going on down there at 417 and other various tracks that she is involved with. They had a super late model 100 this past weekend, and George Gorham Jr. takes the win over Colin Allman and Michael Atwell and Jesse Dutilli and Dylan Bigley. And there's some notables in there with Boris Yurkovic, which we had mentioned most of these guys, and Nick Neary finished 6th and 8th respectively. And some of these guys, if not all of them, maybe even half of them, I know Jesse Dutilli's going to be here, and Michael Atwell probably will too. No, I don't know about the other ones. We've talked about the Derby too. You've got to have funding come in because it's expensive. Mm-hmm. So I just want to give a shout out to Sunshine State Racing and Jennifer Brinson. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
They do, and their Facebook lives are incredible. The sound is good. You can see the action. At 417 Speedway, go down there and click on their Facebook page and join it. And when a race comes up, it'll give you an alert. Watch it, because they cover all the local classes too, even the 4-cylinder guys and everybody else. So, and they do a wonderful job. They know the drivers. She's a great commentator, and the guy she has with him, I don't know his name, but he does an awesome job too. And we're glad to have those guys showing short track races because it's fun to put on our website.
Yeah, exactly. And we look forward to getting up with them maybe after the Derby, maybe before. We just have to make those arrangements and see if we can't set something up and maybe do first part of the next year and get together closer with next season.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like fun. I would enjoy that.
Well, that's that 417 Southern Speedway with Sunshine State Racing with Jennifer Brinson. All those guys down there, wonderful job. My hats off. Our hats off to you. We're going to venture off to Punta Gorda, Florida, and we're going to go to, I think, Nashville, Tennessee, where the guitars are being played. A big, huge weekend in Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway with the All-American 400.
Absolutely.
I love that race. That's what I've been to it once, and it's fanfare. I miss the days when they'd put the South cars had an S and North cars had an N, and they had the Confederate and American flags, and they made a big deal out of it, North versus the South. I think the hype was better, but you can't beat the racing that we saw at all in all classes.
No, and we're going to have, if not all three of these, the Super Late Model, the Pro Late Model, and the CRA Street Stock videos, the replays and the highlights on our Facebook page, Short Track Guys Podcast on Facebook. Just to kind of give you an idea of if you're listening and then you go back and watch the videos or vice versa, you can go to Nashville and spend the entire week there and pretty much do the same thing at the Snowball Derby, albeit you've got to take care of your stuff through all those events to get down here to finish the year out.
Right.
Yeah. That's one thing bad about running those races kind of close together, is just turning around on the cars. You know, these short track teams, none of them have employees. They got friends and buddies that come over and they work on the cars after work. And they, to turn a late model around, you got to clean it, take everything apart, make sure everything's mechanically sound, put it back together, freshen the motor, do what you got to do. And it's a lot of work on those guys. And that's one thing I love about our short track racing is it's buddies in the shop working on race cars, talking about racing. And Nashville is one of the biggest, best short tracks in America. Of course, my hero won his first cup race there, Darrell Waltrip, and won several track championships. Guys like Sterling Marlin, Cuckoo Marlin, all those guys come from that place. It's one of the best, most famous short tracks in America.
Well, we're going to get back to your Darrell Waltrip thing and your heroes and everything. We go back to the 80s with the old 87, 88, 86 Monte Carlos when they ran Nashville.
Yeah.
And they had the CRA street stocks. And if you haven't seen that video and don't know anything about the street stocks, those cars look like the old vintage NASCAR series races. And we had two NASCAR drivers that were actually in that event, and that is one of Kenny Wallace, the Herminator, and Kenny Schrader.
Oh, yeah. Kenny Schrader and him are great. They're great guys.
Yeah, they did well. With Brett Hudson, we talked about last episode. Brett Hudson had a backup car that was with Kenny Wallace. And Chuck Barnes Jr., who finished second, had a backup car that was with Kenny Schrader. And Kenny Schrader finishes third behind a backup car. So, and Jeff Lane, Chad Pendleton, Kenny Wallace actually finished sixth, and Jason Atkinson was ninth. But man, they had a bunch of cars out there, and 27 to be exact, and they put on a pretty good show.
Yeah, they always do it. One of the local Nashville drivers, his name was Wood, I think, or Ward, was leading the race and got dumped. The 00 car. One of our guys from Five Flags drives one of their outlaw cars at other tracks, Bubba Winslow. And I've met that team before. They've pitted next to us back in the old Superstock days, and they're great people. They really are. They got dumped by one of the Barneses, but that's cool. That's just racing. But congratulations to Brett Hudson, because let me tell you something. That dude is a street stock god in CRA. He is. He's one of the best, and so are the Barnes family, senior and junior. They've all won the short track nationals in Bristol.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking about like the NASCAR series of street stocks and the CRAs. That's a dream I'd love to run.
Yeah, and that series was actually, or that race was shortened from 50 to 40 laps because of weather. Everything was crammed in on a Sunday because of weather, and practice was shortened, and the drivers really didn't get a real good grip on, what was going on, how the car was handling. But they put on the show, and they had 40 laps, and I read a quote that Kenny was. You know how he is, man. He's not really. He doesn't get irritated at all. But he was like, bleep. If I'd have just had 5 more laps, I'd have gotten the Schrader. So I think it was a competition between him and Kenny Schrader.
It is. Between old Herminator and Kenny going to have a competition. They're doing this for fun. Right. How would you like to be able to retire from your regular job and go short track racing the rest of the time? Kenny Wallace retired from broadcasting. He had a great broadcast career, making money hand over fist, and went, you know what? I'm going to go race short tracks. I'm done. And I'm sure he makes enough money off parents' money to pay his bills, and he's happy. I mean, he's having a great time, and Ken Schrader does too. And to me, that would be awesome. And I like what Ken Schrader said. They asked him one time, said, when are you going to quit racing? He said, when my friends get too old to pick me up, put me in the car. And I said, what are you going to do then? He said, get younger friends. You know, gotta love Kenny Schrader. Like I said, congratulations to Brett Hudson. Great race. The Barnes family put on a good show. Like I said, those people are the gurus of CRA short track, street stock racing, I should say. And we enjoy watching them. And those are the same guys that ran the Bristol Short Track Nationals that I would run against. They'll kick my behind with the car I have, but it would still be fun to be on the racetrack with them.
Yeah, that was Brett Hudson, Chuck Barnes Jr., Ken Schrader, Jeff Lane, Chad Pendleton, and then obviously Kenny Wallace finishing 6th, and Jason Atkinson in 9th. And that wasn't all, but we had 2 more that was kind of climbing the ladder with the Pro Late Model 100, which is part of that All-American 400, which Supers run 300 laps, or 200 laps, I believe, because the track's a little bit bigger. I think it's a 5/8 mile track.
It's big.
Yep. Yeah. But the Pro Late Model with a 2-time Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway Pro Late Model track champion, Cole Williams, from Borden, Indiana. He's 25 years old. Just, put it to him and took off.
Great racing, that kid. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he talks during the races. He has somebody update while they're racing, and that was neat to watch and see. And I'm going to tell you something. They were beating and banging and swapping paint and just running the wheels off those cars. That was one of the best late model races. If their hype from that race carries over the Snowball Derby and they do that in Pensacola come December, I'm just going to be on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, and there really should be, but 39 cars in that field with the Pro Late Model 100 at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, with Cole Williams taking the win over Cody Coughlin. Buddy Kofoid, which we know as a sprint car driver. He's pretty much unknown really in the late model field, but what do you guys take of this Buddy Kofoid thing?
Oh, well, he did a hell of a job for somebody that's never driven a late model before, and being a Donnie Wilson development driver, because that car has won a run up front with 2 or 3 different drivers this year. I know it finished second in Pensacola. Oh, no, it won. He won in Pensacola, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won the Pro Late Model race last time in Five Flags Speedway, with a different driver. So, I mean, it was great competition. It was fun to watch. What do you think, Ted?
Well, I think it was great. It's outstanding racing, like it's always going to be anywhere, but these guys just get it on and put on a great show, and it's nice to watch.
Yeah. Well, anything Donnie Wilson puts together is going to be fast. And that 24 car, like I said, has had several different drivers and done very, very well. So, 39 cars taking the green flag. They did a great job not tearing up a bunch of equipment. And the races was really good. And some of those guys are coming down here, and it's going to be a great show.
One thing about Donnie Wilson's cars, you can always pick them out of the crowd anytime they run around the track because they sound so much different than anybody else.
I don't know what kind of header or exhaust he puts on, but they do have a different sound to them. All of them, even the pro car.
Well, that was Cole Williams, Cody Coughlin, Buddy Kofoid, Dylan Pitco, and Bryson Schaefer rounding out the top 5. And we got a couple of notables. What we've mentioned before is Ryan Luza. Flying Ryan Luza has been over here at Five Flags Speedway from Texas, and big iRacing driver, and Michael House finishing 10th and 12th. JoJo Wilkinson from Hueytown, Alabama finishes 15th, and congratulations to all those. Look forward to seeing you guys in the Pro Late Model race down here, the Snowflake 100 on Saturday night on the December 2nd to 5th weekend. That was just the kickoff, really, or maybe halftime, if you will, for the big race that came out with the All-American 400. And we got another Donnie Wilson situation going on here with this.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen Ryan Luza years ago at the Bull Ring at the Equestrian Center, for crying out loud, here in Pensacola, running a go-kart race, and he was just as hard-nosed as he is all the rest of the time.
He was Pro Late Model track champion here.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid's got a ton. And that jet car has not been slow. He's been... He would have won at Salem, or it was Winchester. He would have won that race had somebody not gotten his left rear. I mean, the kid is talented. But yeah, the next race was even better. I mean, I bet Donnie Wilson had to take a bunch of bottle of Tums watching that race, just chugging them down, drinking some Pepto-Bismol, going, come on, guys, knock it off.
Could you leave my stuff alone?
Will you please quit trying to tear up both my damn race cars?
Yeah, and that would be Chandler Smith and Sammy Smith. They're about a little bit past halfway. You know, he's got 50, 60 laps to go with Chandler Smith and Sammy Smith battling back and forth in both Donnie Wilson Motorsports cars.
And not just battling, but touching. As in, like,
yes.
boop, move, dummy, I got the lead. Nope, boop, I got the lead. I mean, wiggling each other. And I mean, that had to give that man heartburn. It would have done me. I couldn't imagine.
Major wiggles going on there. They were just
But you know what? I bet both those guys had the biggest grins on their faces because there was no malice.
Nope.
It was just hard racing, and that was a good show.
That was fun to watch.
Yeah, it's one of those bucket lists we've been talking about, you know, with Short Track Guys podcast. The group needs to come up there and grab everybody from the studio and head on up there and spend the week at Nashville and just have a great time. All-American 400 in Nashville Super Speedway, Matt Craig, kind of sitting on the pole, but fell back a little bit, but never really got far behind. And he just kind of, well, that's what they say, the catbird seat, you know. And
just
kind of
saved his equipment.
Yeah, saved his equipment, watched everything happen in front of him. And he ended up coming on top over Jackson Boone. Derek Griffiths finishes third, and Carson Quapple and Willie Allen rounded out the top five. And I think we got some notables here, Ted.
Quite a few of them, and they start right behind the top five. You got Cody Coughlin, Sammy Smith, Dylan Feccio, Casey Roderick, and Stephen Massey. You top 10 for crying out loud.
Right.
So the guys out front didn't have it easy because everybody right behind them was right on their tail. And then you got Hunter Robbins, Michael House, Jesse Love, Jack Smith, Justin Trotty, good Lord, Jake Finch, Chandler Smith, Dalton Armstrong, Kyle Crump, Cole Butcher. And this is picking out the best of the ones that we know and we know we're going to be here. Dakota Stroop, Connor Kresick, a really local hero here, and Austin Nason and Jake Garcia. Good Lord. That's amazing.
Well, you know, that's got to give it to Matt Craig for being smart. The two Wilson cars are beating and shoving and knocking each other sideways, and he's just back there going, just making laps. Like, either they're going to wreck each other, and I don't want to be caught up in it, or they're going to burn their stuff up, and I'm going to drive right by them. And that's exactly what he did. I mean,
the best seat in the house.
Well, except for Chandler Smith, whose car broke. And from what Donnie Wilson said, the car's been having trouble with electrical problems. They got electrical gremlins in that car. And I'm pretty sure right now that thing's probably a bare chassis in the shop. Every wire, every switch, every alternator, every little piece of connector is going to be replaced in that car to fix the problem, because you can't have that not running that good, not when you're running for the lead and you're swapping paint and having a great time and then the car breaks.
Yeah, well, you know, after the All-American weekend, I can just see the list growing. We usually had maybe 70 or 80
at least.
I mean, if you combine the Pro Late models and the Supers, you probably got 130. I would say probably 120, 130 haulers.
120, I think, is the most we ever had for late models.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, when late model racing was still a little affordable.
Right.
You know, now, you know, I mean, nothing against Donnie Wilson. He stepped up his program, and they're all with Cup teams, and they're all getting Cup stuff and Cup parts and, you know, support. Right. And, you know, that, which is cool. But, you know, we're going to have at least 100 late models, I would predict, to try to make both races. And you're talking about 30 spots in the super race, 30 spots in the pro race, and then everybody else goes home.
Yeah.
The 34, 35 cars start the race. I think the most we've ever started was 36.
Yes.
Which you got to have they used to have what they called a promoter's option. I remember back when I was a kid, you'd have somebody like Jody Ridley that didn't make the race, and you know, when Terry Spears was saying, we're putting Jody Ridley in the show. That's like what they did with David Rogers, his last Derby.
Right.
You know, hey, you're going to start no matter what. We're not going to leave you, let you go home.
Yeah.
Which I hope they do the same thing for Rich Bickle if he doesn't qualify, because the man is a 5-time Derby winner.
Yeah.
Just put him in the show. Let him race.
Yeah.
But, you know, we used to do that, and I don't know if they do it anymore, but you got to consider there's what I say, 70 spots probably for both races, and you got over 100 cars. It means 30, 35 cars are going home.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're loading up and going to the house, and none of them, like I said, last year, Noah Gragson, the winner, 2-time winner of the Snowball Derby, went home. I mean, you look at that and go, wow. I mean, like I said, it's the who's who of short track racing.
Yeah, that's absolutely
I've
right.
seen Augie Grill not make the race
And he's
On
a
time. Yeah.
he's a two-time snowball derby winner. I
Exactly.
mean, you know, Augie Doggy. I like Augie a lot. He's a very personable guy. He's
Yeah.
I mean, you can approach and talk to. I remember one year he had this car that was so dominant. I mean, it didn't matter where he started, what he did, he would win, and he sold it. And he showed me the car. I'm like, what? He said, hey man, I run a business too. I got to make a living, and somebody wanted that car bad enough to pay me a large chunk of money. I'm like, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. He's never been that dominant since, but Augie Grill's good people, and I consider him local. That's like Connor O'Kresick and a couple of them I consider local drivers, and you know, Bubba Pollard and all those guys, and still up against, you know, some of the big money. I mean, Derek Thorne, you seen his rig he tows with air ride suspension and all this. How he pulls up, my whole thing just goes. Shh.
Right. Yeah. And
Hits the ground.
speaking of Derek Thorne, I'm reaching out to see if we can't get him on the phone next Wednesday for next Wednesday's episode
That'd be
to
cool.
kind of get an idea of his plans and what he's got and if he knows anything that we can share with our listeners that we can bring of interest to this podcast.
I'd like that. I'd like to talk to him. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice guy. And you know, and that's one thing about it's not some of the Cup guys aren't, but I can remember when Chase Elliott was running out there. And one year we parked right in front of Chase's rig, and I got to talk to Bill Elliott before he spotted. I was sitting there and I had a conversation with him. You know how cool that is to talk to a Cup champion and just have like he's just a regular guy. He's not like these new people. They got their PR people behind them. Don't talk to them. Don't talk to people. Just stay over here. Don't sign autographs. Just can't do this. To hell with all that. I wish it would, even Cup racing would go back to the way it was. Cup drivers were just normal people who raced. They weren't multi-millionaires who didn't give a dang about the fans. They don't care about the fans. They raced all last year with no fans in the stands, and some of them didn't care.
Right. Well, I had my best experience regarding the Elliots was when it was like a July afternoon, and one of the Boyds, his car broke down, and he was at the end of pit road, and he got out and he's pushing it by himself, and I'm looking around going, where's the rest of his crew? And nobody was coming. So I started walking towards his car to help him push. And before I got there, somebody stepped in front of me, got behind the car and started pushing. And I was like, it was Bill Elliott.
Well, Austin Bill from Dawsonville, man.
So I got to push a dead car with Bill Elliott and wasn't a photographer in sight.
Oh, that's cool. I wish I was there. I'd have took a camera with my cell phone just so you could have a picture of that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like the year Red Farmer climbed up on my truck with me and my buddies. I mean, we parked right next to his van. He got out of the car and he started a car. And it was one of the first years that they had the infield cleared out and you could buy a pass. And I'm standing on my old truck and he says, can I get up there and watch the races with you? I mean,
Are you kidding?
yeah, I mean, stand there with a living legend and just watch racing and talk racing with him.
Can I stand up here with you?
Yeah, exactly. You're more, this is you. Yeah. You take the truck home if you want. I'm in hog heaven. But, you know, and when I was like 9 years old and I met Bobby Allison for the first time, you see him on TV. He's like walking up to and he's like, can I help you, young man? I said, can I have your autograph? Sure. And he says, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. You know, you don't see that anymore.
No.
These people have forgot where they came from. Us short track guys don't. We will sign. I'll sign anything. Give me an autograph. I don't care. I love it when little kids come up and say, "Oh, love watching you race." Or Jim Politska and Judy Mears. They're a couple that comes to the races. They're an older couple, and they love me and love to cheer for me. And it's cool to have them as fans. And they take care of me up in the grandstands and keep an ear out for things for me. And I just love having fans. And it's pretty cool, you know, to get out of the car and hear cheers, you know, and when your heroes talk about you and stuff. So I love short track racing, and that's awesome. And we're going to have a great snowball derby for everybody. And I don't want to end on a sour note for me, but I'm going to talk about a couple people that we've lost just recently. David Spears, a lot of you that have raced at Five Flags or on the dirt know who he is. Yeah. We lost him this day to COVID. I pray for his family, and my thoughts and prayers go out to them. And Greg Janes, who is a local fabricator, built many race cars, works for Jet Motorsports now. His father passed away this past week, and we just want to let you go from the short track guys that we're thinking about you, Greg. And
absolutely,
I hope you find some peace, man.
And the Spears family, obviously, you know, thoughts and prayers go out to all that. And you know, it's a racing community. Whether we stay in touch on a daily basis or we see each other every 5 years, it's a community, you know. Our hands out and our thoughts and prayers are all out with those families they're involved.
Right. Amen, brother.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode. 417 Southern Speedway. We've got the Nashville All-American 400. We've got Snowball Derby entries that are coming in on a daily basis. We'll keep you up to date with that next Wednesday. Jim and Ted. It's always a pleasure to get together with you every week and go over some short track racing like we are. Short Track Guys podcast on Facebook. Look us up. Leave us a review. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
You guys have contacts as well.
JVP07@hotmail.com. And let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, mine's Ted_Baber@yahoo.com. Call myself a Yahooligan. All that.
Yep, that's all in the description there. Wherever you get your podcasts, go ahead and listen and subscribe, like, share, talk about us. And we got some exciting news coming up shortly here before the end of the year, and we look forward to that. We will let you know as far as the details get closer. We appreciate your support. Thank you for listening. And, guys, we'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
We'll be here.